Buckle up, because in this video, we're going to talk about one of the most hotly debated topics in happiness research. Can money buy happiness? Now, depending on who you ask, the answer is anything from yes, no, sort of, but only up until a point, and my personal favorite, only if you spend it correctly. Now, if you give me the next 10 or so minutes of your time, I'm going to walk you through what the latest research says, where the experts agree, where they disagree, and the 3 surprising ways that money can consistently buy happiness if you use it wisely. Let's start with the classic take here. You've probably heard the phrase, money doesn't buy happiness. And I'm going to admit to you right now, I used to believe that too. I even said it a few times like I was the Dalai Lama with a savings account. But then someone rightfully pointed out how privileged that perspective is. Because the truth of the matter is, people who say that money doesn't buy happiness, they're usually people who aren't choosing between paying rent and paying food for the week. The fact is, lack of money is incredibly stressful. It's one of the leading causes of divorce, of mental health challenges, and of unhealthy coping mechanisms like substance abuse. So let me be really clear right now. Financial insecurity is a barrier to happiness. And research backs this up. For example, a 2010 Princeton study by Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton found that happiness rises with income, but only up to around $75,000 per year, about 120,000 Australian per year. Keep in mind, this is back in 2010 when money went a bit further, so we need to adjust for inflation now. But beyond that, people didn't really report feeling significantly happier in their day-to-day lives if they made more money or had more money. However, newer research by Matthew Killingsworth in 2021, so much more recent, found that well-being continues to rise with income, and there's no real plateau in sight. It just seems to be the more wealth you have, the more money you make, the higher your well-being is. And so the question is, well, who's right? Like, these studies seem to suggest different things. Who got it correct? The answer, it may not be super satisfying, but kind of both, because they were actually measuring different kinds of happiness. So Kahneman's study over 10 years ago looked at day-to-day emotional well-being. Does your happiness level differ day-to-day based on how much money you make? They found it did up to a certain point where we're no longer struggling with money, where we didn't have financial insecurity, and they didn't make a difference. But Killingsworth's study focused more on overall life satisfaction. Overall, how satisfied would you say you are with your life? So, and he found that just kept going up the more money that was made. So, in this sense, we can kind of conclude that money can buy a sense of freedom, of autonomy, and of life satisfaction, but beyond covering our basic survival needs, it stops being as predictable as a guarantee for our day-to-day sense of happiness. So once we're out of survival mode, if you think of it like the bills are paid, you've got a safe home, you've got food on the table, you've got healthcare, every dollar after our survival needs now becomes a choice. And I would argue that the goal of life is to buy happiness with those extra dollars and buy happiness in a way that actually lasts and gives back. And the reality is there's not many things that you can buy that give a long-term impact on happiness. There's thousands of ads that will tell you if you buy this product or this makeup brand or this new car, then you'll be happy and you'll be cool. But it's often very short-term, the impacts that those purchases give to our happiness levels. If you want long-term happiness, sustainable happiness, genuine, fulfilled happiness, there's only 3 things in the happiness vending machine that will give you that as a return on investment for your dollars. The first one is investing into yourself, whether this be into your health and well-being, into your education, into your personal growth, or into pursuing a hobby that is interesting to you. For example, therapy, coaching, exercise, good food, learning an instrument or a language, anything that you feel helps you become a more fulfilled version of yourself has been shown time and time again to give a positive return on investment in terms of long-term happiness. If you are investing into becoming the person that you want to be, that is a great way to promote happiness. And it's a great way to spend your money past your survival needs. The second thing in the happiness vending machine is then not about spending money on yourself at all. It's the exact opposite. It's about giving back, being altruistic, being charitable and giving with our wealth and with our money. So much research shows that when we donate to causes that we care about, when we help others in need, when we spend money on other people's happiness, it can actually boost our happiness more than spending it on ourselves. So whenever I'm talking to people about, hey, come up with a happiness spending plan, part of that spending plan needs to be, how are you investing into supporting the happiness and well-being of other people? And I don't care how you do it. If you choose a cause that matters to you, if you volunteer, if you donate regularly, whatever it may be, find a way to be generous with your wealth. And, the happiest, most fulfilled people I've met who are also remarkably financially successful, they swear by this. If they only focus on accruing more wealth for themselves, something is missing. There's a sense of happiness and fulfillment that's not experienced by them compared to the people who have accrued wealth and financial success, and they're making sure that they're giving it back to others. Now, the third thing in the happiness vending machine, I mentioned those three. You might be wondering, okay, I'm investing into myself, my growth, my health. I'm helping others and being charitable and altruistic with my money. What is the third one? The third one is to stop spending money on stuff. And I know that's a big thing to say in a world that's very capitalistic, that's very focused on acquire more things, buy the fancy new products, because then you'll be happy. Well, that doesn't really pay off. However, you can spend money or invest money into memories and experiences, and that will have a long-term impact on your happiness. So, for example, be it travel, concerts, road trips, a weekend away with your family, tickets to see your favorite artist, like whatever it is that you enjoy that feels like a meaningful memory and experience to you, put more money into it. Because here's the wild thing, experiences actually give us a triple hit of happiness. First, we get the anticipatory happiness that comes from planning that experience and looking forward to it. If you've ever planned a holiday, you'd know the feeling of spending months getting excited about it and looking into details. Where are you going to stay? What are you going to do? What are you most excited about and looking forward to? So we're getting happiness before we're even there. The second one is then the participatory happiness of being there, of living that experience, seeing your favorite musician, playing your favorite song live, going to that dream bucket list destination. And then the third one is reflection. So looking back on it, if I asked you to look back on some of your happiest moments and memories throughout your life so far, chances are a lot of them have to do with positive memories and experiences, not with buying the latest iPhone or buying a house that's very fancy and impresses the neighbors, but has now got you house trapped because you're spending so much of your income on your mortgage or your rent that you can't afford to invest into positive memories and experiences. So I promise you, where most stuff just gives you a quick little dopamine hit and then gets you hooked on buying the next thing, this is how Amazon's entire business model works. This is how most shopping online works. It's, okay, let's get you when you feel stressed or down about your life, buy something, get a dopamine hit, lasts for a week, and then you're buying the next thing. Maybe less than a week. It might be 24 hours, depending on how quickly you can enter your info at the checkout. The novelty just wears off. So I implore you, if you are past your survival needs when it comes to money, if you're able to put food on the table consistently, if you're able to put a roof over your head, if your utilities are covered, right, if you're not financially struggling, you might be financially surviving and getting by. You might not be financially thriving yet, but if you're at least not financially struggling, I implore you, I encourage you to be so much more intentional with how you invest your money into happiness. Go to the happiness vending machine, those three things that we just spoke about, and choose what you spend it on. Make sure that you focus on having this diverse spending plan that focuses on a bit of money going back into yourself. I often try to say like 5, 5, and 5 is a nice goal. If you go, hey, like 3 to 5% of my income after taxes, like my net income, is put towards things that help me feel like I'm becoming a better version of myself. So 3 to 5% of my income goes into my education, my hobbies, my personal development, my health and well-being. 3 to 5% of my income then goes to giving back and being altruistic and supporting causes that I believe in, supporting charities, volunteering, helping others, making sure that I'm being generous with my wealth. And then 3 to 5% of my income goes into creating incredible memories and experiences, things that I can look forward to throughout my year, things that matter to me, things that at the end of my life when I'm on my deathbed, I will look back on with so much pride and gratitude and happiness because I experienced it. And all up, at most, that's 9 to 15% of your money. And you go, I think that's a fair price to invest into happiness and into long-term happiness, even if it requires you to make some sacrifices elsewhere. Maybe you don't have the latest iPhone every year. Maybe you're not buying fancy new clothes and, fancy labels all the time. Maybe, you're not living in a house that's, again, you're mortgaged up to your eyeballs and you're spending so much money, but you've got the fancy house, the fancy car, but they're all on loans that are just killing you. Maybe you go, hey, I'm going to spend less on stuff and be more intentional about investing my money into things that are evidence-based, that are scientifically proven to promote happiness. So if we bring it all home for this video, these are the core truths that I hope you take from this. First and foremost, money can buy happiness. It's a lie to say that it can't. It's very privileged to say that it can't. Money can buy happiness. It makes a hell of a difference. But it matters dramatically how you use it. If you're in financial security, your first priority is to build stability, get to the point where your basic survival needs are taken care of. And by the way, an important part of that is knowing the difference between a need and a want or a desire, right? Is it a must-have or is it a desire? Get really clear on what your minimum level is to feel financially secure and stable and to cover your survival needs. That's not selfish. That's essential. Make sure you get there. But once you're there, be so much more intentional about choosing memories over materialistic purchases. Be so much more intentional about investing into yourself and into others. And please don't fall for the marketing myth that the next product, the next purchase will finally make you happy or feel good about yourself. Because at the end of your life, you're not going to be able to take any of your stuff with you, but you will be able to carry the memories, the growth, and the impact that you had on others. If you found this helpful, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment telling me what you think about money and happiness, what your best purchase has been. I'd love to hear what's the best thing you've spent money on that made you happier and has contributed to long-term happiness. I'd love to hear examples of that in the comment section. And stay tuned, because if you're finding this video or any other videos of mine that you watch interesting, please make sure that you stay tuned for the journey, because A, it's a great way to invest back in your personal growth and in you learning the skills and science of happiness, which we just mentioned is a great way to be happier. And thanks to our partnership with Buy One, Give One, every time someone subscribes to the channel now, we're paying to protect a square meter of forest. So it's a great way not only for you to invest into your own growth and development, but to invest into altruism and giving back. Literally by clicking the subscribe button, we protect a square meter of rainforest on your behalf. And if you do find that you're ready to invest more intentionally in your happiness, you want to learn more about the skills and science of happiness, then make sure you check out the You Happiness College in the description below. There'll be a link there. It's my social enterprise where my team and I help people all around the world learn and master the skills of happiness, including tips on how to improve your mindset, how to manage your emotions more effectively. And yes, we even have some sections in there on changing your relationship with money. But for now, thank you for being here. Thank you for learning more about the skills and science of happiness. And I hope you choose to play your part in making the world a little bit happier by spending your money in a way that contributes to happiness for yourselves and others. I'll see you next time.